Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be Nomi and Keslen now battling it out. So we did see Keslen take out a giant Smurf. Not an easy task. Is now going to have to go up against another Protoss player. Nomi, this is still in the losers bracket, correct, Wendy?
Yes, this is the losers bracket. I believe this is round 2. And Nomi took out our own Tox Lonely, and I believe, who did he lose to? He lose to a very good player. Let me check the bracket here real quick. Nomi lost to Yeon, so CZ Sail Yeon, I believe is how you say it. And he lost to him, who was a very, very good Terran player. And so here we have now another PvP on Terminus cross positions, so this is going to be pretty much a longer game. I definitely expect 2-base play coming out of both players. Well, I mean, in cross positions on Terminus, as a Protoss player, what would you do? What would your first goal to be? Your first, what would you want to have done by the 7-minute mark?
Well, I think the biggest thing is scouting in cross positions. You want to know if they're going to get aggressive. If they're going to put down proxy pylons and such as that, you want to know that. And that's going to come down to whether or not you're scouting. Because guess what? You're not going to find those proxy pylons in time. They put them down right when they need them. And at that point, it starts to become a little bit too late. So you want to get a good scout into the main of your opponent. So I would say before the 7-minute mark, I expect to see these players doing phenomenal scouting. And once they feel a little bit safer based on what they see, then taking an expansion here is a smart play. And I think that we've seen so far in the tournament in our PvPs that taking those relatively early expansions, making 2-3 gates, or 2 gates in a robo type thing and expanding there fairly quickly, it tends to be pretty nice little play in maps where the rush distance is pretty long, and that's what we're going to see here, I think. But Keslen tossing down his Cybercore here very quickly. Notice he did rush the gateway there just a little bit, and he got it down 1 supply ahead of his opponent. And it looks like Nomi is, though, close behind, Close behind,
yep,
not far.
Second gas going down for Keslen. How the players found each other. Kelsen's about to find his opponent right now. No second gas for Nomi, though, so this could be indicative of aggression or a quick expansion. 1-gate expand on this map, not terrible. Given cross positions, is not terribly unheard of. I've seen players do it. It's a little greedy, but I think if you can follow up with 2 quick gateways and get good positioning with sentries and stalkers, you can definitely hold it. It's just all about, as long as your opponent's not going for some really crazy aggression with, say, a 3-stalker rush, you can get away with it. And you can see that Keslen has gotten out that first Zealot. Chrono boosting is Nexus. Still no second gas for Nomi, so I'm kind of interested as to what he's going to do here. I'm really at a loss. I really thought he would be. Okay, now I think he's just going to throw down the expansion. He's starting to save up a little bit of money.
Yeah, I think Nomi is going to try and take an expansion here. And it looks like both of these players, though, should be gearing up for the same type of deal. Nope, there goes the robotics here for Keslen.
Yep. And look how crisp that timing is. That pylon finishes just as that next sentry can be started, and the robotics are suddenly going down. So yeah, Nomi going for the 1-gate expand. And a forge. Okay, I have seen this variation. I have seen this a few times. You do get the forge after this 1-gate expand, just in case you need to throw down emergency cannons to hold off any kind of early pushes that were coming, like the 3-stalker rush, or maybe even some, like DTs. You can get cannons out, because I feel like this would be a great DTs would be a great counter to this if they were just to say okay, I'm going to go DT expand. So 3 gates going to be down total for Nomi, as well as the forge. So he might be able to crank out a +1 and go for a kind of a timing attack with it. I think that's a distinct possibility. Observer on the way for Keslen, though, and the colors keep on confusing me. Keslen was purple last game, and now he's blue, and I keep on switching it up.
Yeah, they did switch it up there. That's okay though. But Keslen with his first observer on the way here, and he is going to be grabbing a second gateway here finally. But I'm kind of interested here on Keslen's side of the map. He's got a lot of minerals right now. He's just now spending those up, getting that. Looks like his expansion has gone down, and so a little bit delayed there maybe on the expansion, especially considering he did get a scout out on Nomi. But I would assume from Nomi we're going to see +1 come out of this forge here as well.
Yeah, I would like to see him make use of it instead of just the 1 cannon there for defense. I really don't like the fact that he just threw the cannon up for no reason. I feel like he should have at least had scouts at the watchtowers of the closest watchtower to his opponent. That way, if they if a push were to come, you'd be able to get it out and delay until it was ready and then fall back to it. That's kind of what you want to do with a defensive forge placement like that. Oh boy, cannot talk. It's been going along for a little while. So robotics facility going down for Nomi as well. Going to probably get Immortals and Observers out. Immortals has just become such the crucial point of a Protoss army now in PvP, just because they're so good against Stalkers. They have the same range now. That Hardened Shield does so well against other Immortals, so they've become kind of like the core of the army, especially on 2-base play, because usually the person who has the best Immortal positioning and the higher count will come out ahead regardless of how many Stalkers the opponent has. They're just so good.
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree. Forge going to go down here for Kelsen. Kelsen's going to start working on upgrades. He's obviously not putting this down for a cannon. We do have that +1 coming out here for Nomi, and no chronos going down on it currently. I would like to see those chronos being utilized here. My guess is maybe Nomi's saving the chronos for the... Oh, yeah, there goes your robotics base. So we're going to see a lot of chronos going out on your Colossus is my guess here. So probably that's what Nomi is saving it for. But still a couple of chronos here and there. There we go. There's a chrono on the Forge. That's what we'd like to see. But, you know, getting those upgrades out is very crucial, I think, once you pass the 7-minute mark in a PvP.
Oh yeah, especially if you're going for a unit like Colossi, which does 2 attacks, so it benefits doubly from the +1 attack. Right. And it looks like it's pretty much mirror builds, but coming at different points from both of our players here. You can see that second robotics facility has gone down for Kelsen, so he's going to go with that double Colossi, very light on the gateway count, heavy on the Colossi, whereas Nomi is going just a 1 robo facility with a Colossi, heavy on the warp. The Warp Army, and that really comes down to 2 things: positioning and aggression. If you're aggressive with that higher warp gate count, and you can catch those Colossi out of position, you're going to win hands down. No matter, it doesn't matter how many Colossi they have, so long as you can get in good position, you'll be able to take it. Whereas a player who has more Colossi, if they were just to catch the opponent's army out of position and maybe even sever it with some sentries, they're going to win hands down just because of the sheer damage output that they have.
Right.
So now, +1 finishing up for Nomi. Yeah. Oh, no, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that, you know, Nomi did scout over here, and he did see the double robotics with his observer there, and he did toss down another one in response. And he's grabbing a Twilight Council here as well, so I'm half expecting to see him go for charge off of this. I think charge is going to be a nice response to this heavy robotics play, as well as going to try and stay on equal footing in the robotics, you know, production capability there, and that's what we see. There goes the next Colossus. I'm kind of interested. It's either going to be blink or charge here from Nomi, but it could. I would think charge is a good response here. What would you go for?
In this circumstance, I probably, given the amount of units that Kelsen is going to have, and he's not going to have very gateway units, so charge is definitely going to be the most effective because they're going to have that surface area to get around. They'll be able to surround the Stalkers and the other Zealots in there. And I mean, of course, the Colossi are going to rip right through them, but allow you with the other Stalkers and your other units and Immortals to get in and start picking off the Colossi. Right. It really kind of it comes down, in this sort of circumstance, it really comes down to it's about your engagement. How do you engage the army that your opponent has without sacrificing too much of your own and being, you know, counter push or something like that? I'd love to see Warp Prism come into play. It really does not come enough in PvP, and it's so good, especially if you have charge lots. Charge lots in the mineral lines, don't know if you've ever dealt with them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were so... Zealots, in my opinion, are single-handedly the best mineral line killers, so long as they only have to focus on the mineral line. Yep. Just because no amount of probes, drones, SCVs surrounding them are going to stop them. Right. Between the shields and just how they have 150 HP, man, and they're beefy. Yeah. And they can have armor, too. So the probe is going to be doing what? With +1 armor, 4 damage to it, to 150 HP, even with the surrounds and the 2 swipes of the side blades, it's just,
2 swipes
bad day to be a probe.
And at 1.2 speed. I mean, that's a relatively fast speed for a Protoss unit there. And so it's, yeah, like you say, it's phenomenal. Plus, once they have charge, then they always will do at least 1 attack regardless of what attacks them. And so, but a third here going down for Kelsen. I like this play. It looks like Nomi thinking the same thing. Nomi slightly ahead there, but both of these guys not being aggressive here at all. And so I think this macro play is exactly what they need to move forward. But I would say so far so good. It's even footing, and this is still anybody's game. Kelsen is slightly ahead in the supply count there, and he is grabbing charge. So that was, I think we made a good summation there, and I'm hoping that is going to play in his favor. In many regards, because I think that he's doing this in response to that double robotics that he saw from Kelsen there. Now, Kelsen did grab another Forge, too, so he's going to be working on double the upgrades here in just a moment.
Yeah, no, what's really interesting to me is how far behind Nomi is in the worker count. If you look at it, it's 72 to 51 advantage to Kelsen, and still it seems like Kelsen still has a bigger army and is even on upgrades. I can't seem to fathom where all Nomi's money went, even though they're pretty much dead even. Production facilities are the same amount of bases. I really can't fathom. And wow, 6 Colossi out though for Nomi, and 6 out for Kelsen. I cannot figure out where Nomi's supply, why it's so low and comparatively.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think part of it is because he hasn't started warping in his zealots yet. I think he's trying to work on his his tech composition first. Now, I've seen players do it this way before, where they say to themselves, I can always warp in my gateway units. What I want to do is work on my tech composition first. I want to get a good scout out, make sure that my tech is going to counter the tech of my opponent, and then I can start warping in my zealots. But since he's already got charge out, I really would like to see Nomi warping in more zealots. It seems like you could go ahead and commit to those because that charge is going to make them so much more effective. But moving forward, I expect that both of these guys are going to be in good shape when an engagement comes, but it's going to come down. It will end up coming down to who micros the best. But look how much Colossus we've got from both of these armies. Regardless,
this is the current PvP metagame, man. It's just like, how many Colossi can you get? And I think they signed some 20-minute no rush pack before they started playing because Nomi's lost 150 resources the entire game, and that's probably from canceling buildings.
Right.
And he's actually taking a fourth. Is he taking a fourth? Yeah, he is taking a fourth.
Yeah,
he needs to be careful. He should see his army moving out.
Yeah, he does scout it here. He's got the towers under the lava.
He should let this expansion soak up some damage, wait for his +3 to finish, because once that +3 finishes, he's going to have a huge advantage on his opponent, who's only going to have +1 armor. He'll have 3 too, so that's where Nomi's advantage lies. And it looks like Kelsen's delaying, which is not good.
Yeah. If once you're scouted, unless you're maxed out, it's go time once you're scouted, in my opinion. But especially in a PvP, because the element of surprise is actually quite effective. The quicker you can surprise your opponent, the better off you're going to be, because that means they can. Once they've scouted it, they're going to stall building production, and they're going to go straight into production of their army. And that's exactly what you want for a defensive position. And what he's allowing here is Nomi to go ahead and do exactly that. Nomi is about to be maxed out as well, but
I don't know. This is going to come down. I can't believe this expansion finished. He does have High Templar out, which there are sentries out, so if he could feed back the sentries, and that can take it a big question. Colossi getting a little bit of a sweep on the other Colossi. No hull damage done, but that'll force Kelsen to stop being aggressive. He really can't engage with an army that's kind of split. I like his idea to split up his army, though, kind of get a big arc on this ball, and he's going to almost doing a Zerg-like surround. Here it comes, but I don't know if this is a good decision. This Colossi are way in the back. However, it's a decent arc. I really can't tell who's coming out on top here.
It's absolutely Nomi. Absolutely.
Oh,
Nomi.
wow. Look at his upgrades. Doing so much work for him, too.
Yep.
Looks like he has 2-3 on the Colossi and only 2-2 for Kelsen with +3, just moments finishing up, and just maybe about 30 seconds. Had he waited a little bit longer, it would have been even pushed. Yep. I think he would have been okay. And now Nomi's on top. He has a 4th base. He is doing well for himself. Yep. He's still behind on workers at 66 to 82, but I feel like in mirror matchups, workers is where you can kind of cut resources a little bit. I think he needs to start teching into maybe Stargate tech. Would be a really good choice. Get a mothership out. Start doing recall plays. I don't know if you've ever messed around with the mothership in PvP.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get to, but
it is hard to get to. But like you say, it's super effective, but it does require that you are ahead. And so Nomi has to at this point kind of gauge whether or not he's ahead. He is going to be securing a 5th base, which I think is a smart play here. He says, I think I'm probably a little bit ahead, and so I'm going to try and turn that into an economic lead here. And go ahead and take the 5th. We're going to see Nomi, I would assume, max out and then start taking out the bases in the center of the map of Kelsen and try and push Kelsen back onto the 3 main, his 3 main expansions there. And I think that's going to be the best play here for Nomi. He doesn't want to take a risk in game number 1. Notice that Nomi coming in here and taking out that forward pylon too behind his base, and that's always a smart thing. You want to clear out pylons where possible. The last thing you want is a warp in because you failed to take out a pylon, but he really can't allow at this point to let Kelsen go ahead and take this 5th base as well. Kelsen is trying to secure that 5th. He's got a lot of cannons here at the 4th. With a good position, well-positioned attack, he could take out that 4th, but taking out the 5th here, I think, is an absolute necessity at this point.
Yeah, I really think that one players or both need to get DTs out on the map. You can see that both. I think they're okay. Yeah, they're both at 3-3 now. Shield upgrade starting almost completed for Kelson, so he'll have a slight upgrade there, a slight upgrade advantage. But it's just turning into like a TVT PvP. It's just going on for ages. It's all about position and striking and trying to outmaneuver your opponent. But this is just awkward. And it looks like a couple of probes being sacrificed to Nomi. And he's happy to oblige, making a little bit of a push. Finally, he's going to push into the 5th expansion. Is just going up. There's probes there, so he'll be able to take it out. I think he'll be able to snipe this 5th and just get on out of there. Maybe even catch his opponent in the ditch, which would be great. Although he is out of position, Colossi are in the front. He's getting backed up into the pylons. He needs to be careful. Immortal's going all over the place. However, some Zealots are not engaging in the fight. They're actually targeting on pylons. You can hear the death of Zealots. Oh my god, my ears. It's just...
Now, the thing that made Nomi win here is just that he had the better Colossus numbers. I mean, he didn't actually win. I say take that back, because if you do see that Kelson is cruising in. But we got some more charge lot here from Nomi. But the Colossus numbers are dwindling for both players. It looks like Nomi will end up taking it down. I'd say that engagement went fairly well, but Nomi with higher Colossus numbers at the end. And that's the key here. So it did turn, I think, fairly quickly there in Kelson's favor. Whereas before, Nomi did win that previous engagement, did have the Colossus advantage, but it came down to positioning, like you said. But on the
here
other
comes
hand,
Kelson into the fifth of Nomi. I think he'll be able to chase him out with the number of Zealots and Colossi. But I'm looking at the production tab. Nomi's able to produce 3 Colossus at a time, and that is going to be huge when it comes down to these these army trading situations that are going on. Nomi's going to be able to remax a little bit quicker with a more effective army. Now it's just a matter of time before both players start to transition into Stargate tag and start throwing in a carrier or two in this situation just for backup damage. Has some possibility. PvP, you really don't see it. But wow, some of these Zealots being warped in for Kelson. How many gateways does he have? Looks like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He has 13 gateways, whereas Nomi has 2, 3. Man, he's all over the place. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Kelson a little bit better.
Engagement though. Look at this.
Yep.
Charge lots coming in. Looks like Kelson not getting his entire army in position too quickly, but I don't know, man. This is a tough engagement for Nomi because all of his Colossus are clumped up. They're kind of getting targeted down there fairly quick. He doesn't have the reinforcements that he needs. Oh my goodness, what a kind of a blunder there in many respects for Nomi. I think really could have done a little bit better with positioning of that army. He wants to spread it out. You don't want to have your Colossus attacked by Zealots too quickly. And he's now going to lose.
And you don't want your Colossi to have it attacked by the Colossi because of the splash damage that goes on.
Right.
He will be able to take out this 5th base. I don't think it's going to be the end of Nomi, not at all. But you can see these Zealots are starting to pick away at this Colossi. There is one Colossi of Kelson, I believe, like 6 HP, and there it is. Slowly you're getting shields, but Nomi has to kind of end the game right here. He can't. He's now down a base because Kelson has reclaimed his 5th base. So wow, that's a big food disparity though. That's 97 to 166. That's pretty big. But don't forget that Kelson does have a lot more workers, so it's a little bit deceiving. But that Colossi count, woof.
Yeah,
6 Colossi to only 2, man. That is going to be tough to deal with. That is.
Yeah. And Nomi's getting blink here. I think this is a smart play. And notice he's got some charge lots cruising around. He's trying to keep Kelson from attacking right now. And that's a smart idea. But he can't sacrifice too many units to do that because the more he sacrifices, the less the less he's going to have to add to his main army. And right now his main army is suffering hard to the core. He's got like 5 units in there. I mean, let's see, 11 units in his main army right now. Is an absolutely brutal position. He doesn't have the resources right now to get it up and running the way he wants.
Yeah, and it looks like Kelson has decided to transition to Stargate tech, so it's possible we'll see a mothership sometime soon. Which really has bothered me is that not that players gone for DT drops. I'm sorry, but DT drops in PvP are one of the best things. But never mind, there's an engagement onto the 4th of Nomi. He's not in any position to deal with it. Archons and Colossi, really smart of Kelson to attack from both lanes to really cut off any kind of counterattacks or flanks that Nomi be able to pull off. And oh man, all those Zealots going down.
But he does snipe the base, and see, this is the big play here for Kelson. Nomi is going to be on 2 mining base essentially because the main is not doing any mining at all, and and Kelson also has the army advantage and the production advantage. So I think that this is probably going to be your game-ending push here. Nomi's down to 50 supply, Kelson at 140, so nearly 100 plus, and that's just too much to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's going to be GG for Nomi for sure. It's kind of a tough match. It's sad to say how some of these games can come down to one engagement and just define it all. But I really think it has to do with Kelson's decision making to not be aggressive. He had advantages, great advantages. In fact, that one time when he took out that one army, he had the biggest advantage of the game, and he could have just crushed his opponent then, but he chose to fall back. And sometimes, yes, the whole idea of if you're ahead, get more ahead is the best thing to do. But when you're maxed out in a mirror matchup, sometimes your advantages are much greater than you think, and the windows they have are much smaller.
Agreed. Absolutely. Great point. And we do have a GG from Nomi, so that is going to be game number 1. Kelsen taking it down. It's going to start putting the pressure on Nomi in this best of 3, but we're going into game number 2 here in just a moment, so don't alt-tab. Always hold Starcraft. We'll catch you guys then. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be game 2 in this particular matchup. Nomi versus Kelsen. Good old PvP here. It is going to be on Belcher Beach, and Wendy and I have been casting this evening. Wendy, how are you feeling, man?
Doing great, man. I want to keep the night keep on going. More PvP, more matchups. A little bracket update for you guys. Sheth has taken out DDE, so DDE has now dropped down to the losers bracket. He was playing our very own Tox only, which was the first game we cast that night against Nomi, actually. So I love how the world kind of comes a little, full circle like that for you.
Yeah, always fun.
And it looks like Maddie was taken out, and we're going. Mike's going pretty quick. I have to admit, it's.
No, Maddie's just in the losers bracket now. He didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, losers bracket. My mistake.
Okay, that's all right. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yep. So looks like both players Belcher Beach. So let's talk a little bit about the map. We have said it a million times before. We're going to say it once more, just in case you did not notice. There is no ramp on this map, so you cannot go for that 3-gate robo build in the hopes of being defensive and holding with sentries. It will not work. Even if you could force field that little choke off for a little bit, it'll only buy you so much time. Right. So you have to really start thinking, what kind of play do I go? And you hear, I've talked about this before, is the 4-gate scenario is always obviously the most plausible here, but let's talk about 4-gate. Offensive 4-gate versus defensive 4-gate. And a map like this, do you think the defensive 4-gate is always going to come out on top, or the offensive 4-gate? What is your thoughts on the whole idea?
I don't think that necessarily will always come out on top. I think that a lot of times you do have a slight advantage playing a defensive 4-gate versus a defensive 4-gate. I mean, Huck is a great example. I mean, he's very, very good at his offensive 4-gating versus defensive 4-gating. He tends to come out on top, and it just comes down to control and good planning. The deal is you have to have your pylon go down at the right time in a forward position. If you don't have it go down at the right time and in the right position, you do put yourself at a disadvantage. And so, I mean, I think that Nomi, going into this matchup here, chose this map for this exact purpose. I think that we can expect a 4-gate here out of Nomi, and it's going to come down to the micro ability of Kelsen to either hold it off or, for Nomi to be able to, to take it down.
Mm-hmm. And I had to say, going back to the whole idea of offensive 4-gate, defensive is generally going to have the advantage of you, like I said, whether it's just because weapons or the fact that you can pull probes or the building structure. But with the offensive 4-gate on a map like Belcher or Tal'Darim, you have to be tactical about it. It's more than just, how well can I micro. You have to be tactical. You have to target down the right units at the right time. And more importantly, if you can get into his base and push him back a little bit or catch him off guard and pick off a pylon that depowers a warp gate or 2 warp gates or even 3 or maybe all of them depending on how the structures are laid out. If you could supply block him or kill off the core, if you can do something to kind of delay the production of your opponent who's doing the defensive 4-gate, you take a huge advantage away. If not to end the game right there, but at least to do damage and go back home and maybe expand yourself and try to end it with another push. So and it looks like 4-gate out of Nomi. Coming out of Kelsen, what do we have though?
3-gate. This is a 3-gate.
This would be really bad for Kelsen. I don't know if he sees this coming, but this is 3-gate will 3-gate will not hold 4-gate. And Nomi, look at that, throwing down 3 pylons, and it's almost like a Korean 4-gate variation. Right. It's not. I don't know if you're familiar with the Korean 4-gate.
Oh, absolutely.
But it is a very, very, very volatile push.
Yeah, that's exactly what we have here from Nomi. He's got this was great planning. He got all these pylons down in perfect time. You're going to see your warp-ins come out here in just a moment. from Nomi, and this is going to be problematic here for Keslen, but we need to see those warp-ins right now. So Nomi is behind right now on the warp-ins. There we go. We've got 3 warping in behind these stalkers. Great warp-in timing there. He's got to focus down a stalker or 2 here in this little engagement, but here comes way too many stalkers to deal with. And
Keslen doesn't even have warp gate research done. He's just finishing up. He still has to wait for the stalkers to finish building if he so chooses, or he still has to wait for the fact that his warp gate has to be still morphed in. So that's 10 seconds, and all that time, Nomi is just getting a bigger and bigger advantage. And this is what I'm talking about being tactical. Yep. He's being smart. He realizes, like, okay, my opponent doesn't have warp gate out. That means I have to do one of 2 things: target down his units so I have a better unit advantage, or supply block him because he's not going to have the proper economy out,
right,
or the proper economy structure to deal with it. And you can see that Nomi is just going to take this game down very easily. He has those pylons that are pretty forward up. He's just, what is that, 7 stalkers to 3, and GG out of Keslen. Very quick game too.
Very quick.
And that's what we're talking about. Defensive 4 gate, if you're not defensive 4 gating, you will lose automatically in a map like that. And I think that's just Keslen's poor scouting or poor understanding of how the map works. So
agreed. I mean, 4 gate is definitely a great choice there, but that is going to take us to an ace match here. That makes me fairly happy. It will be Keslen's map choice. Do not alt-tab. Always alt-Starcraft. We'll see you guys in game number 3.
Seems that a lot of players kind of fallen in favor to it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you. It is going to be on GSL's Crevasse, Game 3 between these guys. Now, going to be kicking it. So, an ace match here, Wendy. I'm actually fairly excited here for Nomi and Keslen. This has been a nice little PvP matchup. We saw a beautiful macro game in game number 1. Game number 2 went fairly quick with a nice little 4-gate out of Nomi, and here in game 3, Keslen does get the map choice, which is going to be a nice deal for Keslen. Looks like he did choose Crevasse purposely. I think Keslen tends to be a little bit more comfortable on 2-base play. This one is a very easy map to get 2-base play out. So moving forward, I have expect to see a little bit of macro going down here. How about you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a possibility, especially with that in-base expansion. At least a 2-base play out of both players, unless one player would go for like a proxy 2-gate or something, which I've seen it happen on this map. There's a lot of like dead area in the bases. If you were to get lucky and maybe see where your opponent was and proxy gate him, right, you can definitely get off an easy win that way. I've seen it happen, but it looks like I would definitely go for a 13 gate. A lot of players argue 12 or 13 gate in PvP, and on a map like this, you can get away with a 13 gate easily, just because if you have a sentry out, you can wall off that ramp. You can defend very, very easily. Right. In fact, I think there's even some builds specifically for this map where you get 4 sentries out and defend that ramp while you take that nexus. And because 4 sentries allow you to force field indefinitely because of the way the energy regains and the force field times. However, with those destructible debris, that time is a little bit more limited on this map. Still, there are some really strong plays based around that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
absolutely true. But just 1 gas for both these players for now. Looks like they're both completing it right about the same time. I mean, fairly standard opener here. Where are we going to see deviation, do you think, between these 2 players? I mean, who is going to go for the 4-gate type play? Who's going to go for the the 2-gate expand? Where do you have the Cyber Core's going down here? Looks like Nomi did beat Keslen to the punch there, but I'm interested to see who you think is going to go for aggression here.
Yeah, it's kind of like Terran. It's definitely or TVT matchups or Terran where you can get a big read on when that second gas timing goes down, because always Protoss is always going to get the first gas because they need the warp gate research. Right. But you kind of decide like when that second gas timing goes down, like what happens from that. And you see a second gateway coming out of Keslen here. Back at home for Nomi, it's just a 1 gateway. It looks like he's getting a Zealot out, and that's kind of a big deviation right there. The fact that Keslen decided not to get a first Zealot. Looks like a 3-stalker rush. He's Chrono boosting out that first stalker as well as his warp gate, and I think there should be a stalker coming out for Nomi. I kind of have expected him to get a sentry, seeing the 2 warp gates. It's always better to not deal with aggression at all on a map like this. If you can.
This is a 4-gate though from Nomi. This is absolutely a 4-gate.
Chrono Boost, oh yeah.
Yeah, Chrono Boost going down like crazy on that Cyber Core. He has stalled pro production. We're absolutely going to see a 4-gate. There's your 4th gate, and so he's going to start getting himself into position. Now I'm interested to see if this is going to work out for him. He's got 1 Zealot cruising out across the field. He's kind of giving away his strategy here. So Keslen should be able to get himself prepared here, but he does not have that second gas yet. And if he's going to get out enough sentries, He's got to get that second gas down. It looks like he's going to try and hold this off with 2, now 3 gates going down. This is going to be difficult. I think that he's behind on this third gate.
This is going to be very, very difficult. If he lets his opponent get that, he's going to get one pylon down. That Zealot is doing a ton of work despite only being by itself. This pylon will probably go down. I expect it to be canceled. At least I hope it would. Nomi needs to be very, very careful, though. Will that pylon finish? I don't know. He's trying to let it finish. I think he really should cancel it. It looks like he's going to let it finish. Warp Gate research is just now finishing. Warp-ins will be coming in only seconds, but already keslen has a huge advantage. Here coming, once he sees that there's 4 stalkers that are about to be warped in, he will understand that, okay, this is a 4-gate. And here we go. What does he have back at home? He only has 3 gates, but he does have a 4th gate on the way. If he can get at least 1 sentry out to defend this push for a little bit, he will be okay. But Nomi needs to go now before the sentry comes, and I think
he's already
that's
up
what
in the base. He's going to toss down another pylon here, and notice he's going to start to try and supply block keslen. And this is a beautiful play from him. Keslen did get a good solid warp in here, picking up the stalker, the better stalker position. But Nomi's because of the reinforcement position here for Nomi. Nomi is going to have a little bit of trouble. So we need to see Nomi either transition here or, I don't know, it looks like he's backing out.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by that.
I think he's going to transition.
Looks like he's throwing in a Nexus. Maybe he's like, okay, I can't hold that. Kind of the decision you have to go at this point. I definitely think you should keep his opponent contained because he can run away with the Stalkers so long as he has good vision.
Right.
Vision with that Watchtower would be a good choice because he'd be able to see when his opponent was coming. But the Watchtower nearest his pylon. You always want to, if you're ever going to do some kind of aggression and it doesn't work or it doesn't do enough damage like you expect it to, always a very, very good decision to at least contain your opponent to his base. That way when you see him move out, you know what to deal with it. Even if it's just with a couple units that can, maybe pick off a scouting probe or something like that, or a scouting like Zealot Stalker pair, something to do something with, and then have the rest of your army back at home to deal with any kind of like warp prism drops that may be coming in. And Kravaz is a great map for warp prism harassment, especially in the positions that Nomi's position relevant to keslen, that he has a nice juicy in-base expansion to harass with. I think it was the first game of the night that you saw. It was a ZVP, so you kind of saw Tox only try to harass the expansion because he was available to him. So it all kind of depends. You really do have to play the map. Like I said, Kravaz is one of those maps you have to play it. Expansion finishing up for Nomi. He will get his down first. Worker count is ahead to keslen though, so he will have a slight advantage once his expansion does finish up. Right now he's a little oversaturated in his main. Robo going down for both players.
Well, yeah, I like how quickly Nomi got out that robotics facility. They transitioned into that very quickly. He is going to be grabbing that third gas up there at his natural. And this is an okay position, though, for Nomi. To be honest, I think he transitioned out of his 4-gate very, very well. And is not going to have to endure any attack from keslen, though keslen does have a substantial army here. And quite honestly, if he did go for an attack, within the next couple minutes, it could fare pretty well. And he's going to be chrono boosting out an observer here, so it doesn't look like aggression quite yet, but he is going to go get a scout on his opponent. And that's exactly, this is the safe play for keslen, especially when you're in the ace match like this. He's got to think to himself, what is my safest play here? How do I make sure to set myself up for a win? And I think that's what we're seeing keslen doing, and he's in great shape in this game, though. Not too far ahead, but definitely has got a lead here.
Yeah, he definitely has the lead of just the defender right now because he was able to deflect that attack, and now his opponent's kind of committed a lot to it. But he in response saw that he threw down an additional gateway, so it wasn't the most appropriate response. I think getting out a sentry would have been better and just held off the aggression that way. Looks like both players have gone into Robo, but however, Nomi has thrown down the Colossus Den, so he's starting to get out Colossi as well as the Colossus range, and he has a Forge going down, so he's definitely ahead of keslen, at least in tech. What keslen does from here is I'm really not sure. He's quite ahead on pylons. He's very oversaturated on pylons. I'm not really sure the reasoning for that.
It's compensation. It's compensation for what Nomi's doing, which is staying supply blocked here fairly regularly.
Oh, is he?
Oh man, it's been several times here, and it's been so bad that you've got people out on the live stream noticing it. It's actually, he's really got to be careful, and we've seen that before from Nomi, that he tends to get a little bit flustered in these games, and it seems like he lets his pylon production kind of slip, and that's something you can't let slip, especially in the ace match here. Like, yet again, and this is what happened in that last one, but so far so good. He does have Colossus now out on the field. He's got great tech pattern. And I think that moving forward, he's going to be okay as long as Keslen doesn't move out here within the next little while. But we're going to see some, I would assume, some Colossus here in just a moment. We've got that robotics bay going down for Keslen, and Keslen playing a little bit of catch-up with the tech, but shouldn't be too far behind.
No, not at all. But I think if Nomi was able to push with 2 Colossi versus maybe the like none of Keslen, or if Nomi was pushed with 4 versus 2 Colossi, he could definitely take a big advantage. His upgrades are ahead, his Colossi are ahead, he has to stress that advantage. But once that gap closes, because he's invested so much in attack, his overall production is going to suffer. So you can see how these little timing windows in mirror matchups, they open very quickly and they close just as quickly. And the strength of them is so much more significant than if in like a non-mirror matchup. And that's what Nomi has to stress here. He has to take note that his opponent doesn't have Colossi yet. Whether on Colossi range, it looks like Keslen's moving out. Oh! And it looks like he does pick off the probe. He was able to get the cancel on the pylon, but that's a pretty huge pick. That's going to stop any aggression. And a really smart play out of Keslen there.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Nice reaction, though, from Nomi here. He's starting to get out a little bit bigger army. He's still working on those Colossus and currently has a pretty nice little Colossus lead. And as we've seen so far in the extravaganza tonight, it has been who has the most Colossus in these big PvP plays here. And so, I mean, Nomi's taking a good little lead and is going to go for a push here. He's got 4 Colossus out on the field. Got to bring the rest of them with. There we go.
Yeah, and there he goes.
This is going to be a nice little push.
He should go break down the rocks and maybe even harass the high ground. Those Colossi can walk up there. If he were to maybe trying to push in for one alley and send just one Colossi to harass that mineral line, I've seen it done before, and it's difficult to pull off. But if you can do it, man, you can rotate a lot of probes very quickly. I believe with +2, or no, it has to be +3. +3 Colossi will roast probes in one shot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
From the thermal rinses.
Oh,
and
it's
that's
so nice.
Yeah. And here we go. It looks like Keslen's trying to get in a good position. He does have an army supply advantage, but that's only in workers. It's at 38 to 54 workers. Nomi very shy on the worker count. Here comes the big engagement.
Looks like
it's 2 Colossi to 4, and this is what I was talking about. This is what Nomi needed to do. He needed to take advantage of what he had. They do both have +1, but I think that with positioning, Nomi should be able to take out his opponent. He needs to get down that sentry, and there it goes down. And Morals need to go down as well, and I don't know, and Nomi has to pull out. Oh my God! Wow.
Beautiful defense there from Keslen. He had a nice little split on his army there, making those Colossus just that a little bit more, or a little bit less effective in Nomi's army. And Nomi did save, however, 2 of his Colossus. He does have pretty solid Colossus production. He's got 3 Colossus, but the warp-ins now are what are key. He wasted a warp in there, I think, in a lot of regards, but he is going to hit the mineral line here, and this is not a bad little play, but in the meantime, his main is in danger, and that is not a fun position to be in. Look at this. These guys are going to get up to the high ground. He does have the Colossus advantage here. I'm thinking Nomi should be able to hold on, and if he does, that is going to be big deal for Nomi because he's really killing a lot in the base of Keslen at this point. Look at that!
Yeah, wow. Oh, I didn't even realize there's a harassment. Warp Prism. Good job from Nomi.
Yeah.
Taking down the Warp Prism in the main. I was too busy watching the main fight. And wow, that natural is all cleaned up from Keslen. 8 workers have gone down there. Well, looks like all the probes are probed back into the main. That's going to really hurt his economy. He's oversaturated. And this is just a back and forth. This is just insane matchup right now with what is going on. Keslen now cleaning up that drop that was going on in his natural. He's returning probes to there, but that's lost mining time. That's giving Nomi the ability to catch back up, having lost that engagement. So good counterplay from there. Nomi playing catch up, but he's so far behind on probes. He really needs to get back up there.
Yeah.
Granted, you don't need full saturation because this is only 6 mineral patches in the natural. So 41 is actually pretty good right now. He should be safe.
Yeah, he should be just fine. I mean, when it comes down to it, Keslen is kind of oversaturated, and when he did, send his probes back to this natural, he didn't saturate the gas again, so he is going to be shy on gas here, while Nomi is in just fine position on gas, and it looks like he still hasn't remedied that, actually, strangely enough. His main is completely mined out. He has to take this expansion right now. Now, Nomi needs to be considering the same type of deal here. His main is about to be mined out as well. And so taking a third here is absolutely crucial unless he believes that he can take this down on his next push, which I don't think is the case.
No, not at all. And it looks like a Warp Prism has gone out across the map. It is spotted by Keslen's pylon, which was forward pylon was placed earlier for the aggression. And the Stalker's going to go over here and pick it off. It's pretty big. Nomi needs to be paying more attention. He's not sure why he did that. He does He does get the scout off at the fourth base or the third base, I believe. Yes, he does see it, so he will be able to at least know that what his opponent is up to. So not a total waste of that War Prism, but unfortunately, he go down.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to try to take a third of his own. Although 5 Colossi on the map for him to just the 3 of Keslen. Looking at their upgrades, 1-1 for Nomi, and it looks like that. And
right
just
now,
plus 1 attack.
I mean, Keslen's in the dumps right now because he's behind on minerals. But Nomi's about to be even worse so because he's not taking an expansion right now, and his main is about to be mined out. This is a huge error from Nomi. He's got to either go right now, or he's going to find himself losing this match because Keslen will have the stronger economy. And, yeah, I mean, this is it. Here he goes. Decent engagement positioning here for Nomi. Getting a good couple shots off on those Colossus early is not a bad little play, but backing out here is not the correct response. He's either got to go here or take an expansion and play defensively.
Yeah, he really needs to make up his mind. He's jostling too much between. I wish he still had that War Prism alive. Harassment right now into that natural
He's got
again
another
would be
one.
great.
He just added it to his army there. It's right next to his army. He's got another War Prism, but I mean, Keslen is back up and mining in a very big way, and I think that this is gonna be a difficult position for Nomi.
And finally, a DT Shrine comes out in a PvP matchup. This is a great play coming out of Nomi. There's only one observer on the field for Keslen, and it's not going to be in any position to really deal with it. And you can see the probes are being forced off again. This will hurt his economy a little bit further. They actually do have charge, too, it looks like. Oh, no, maybe they don't.
Oh, look at this engagement out in the center. He is catching half of Keslen's army off guard. A lot of units for Keslen not getting damage done. Nomi does get the jump on this engagement. This could play in his favor. He's taken out all of the tanks in this army. We're left with just Colossus here. There are some reinforcements coming from behind, but it looks like, oh my goodness, all the Colossus go down. Wow,
yep, and there's still harassment going on in the natural of Keslen. You have to be aware of that. 4 Colossi left, and there's only 3 Stalkers and 1 Colossi left, and an Immortal left, too. That's huge. That Immortal is going to do so much more damage versus the army of Keslen. Keslen might lose this game right here just because and look at all those probes. And GG, well played coming out of Keslen, and there you go.
Unbelievable. I'm so impressed that Nomi was able to pull that off. That was such a tenuous position to be in without the third going down. His main mined out. He knew that had to be go time there, I think, and so he did make it happen. Nicely done. Congratulations to Nomi. Nomi will be moving on. Keslen, however, will not, and that is a sad deal for him, but we do appreciate him coming out and playing. We do appreciate Wendy coming out and co-casting with me yet again. This has been a phenomenal night so far. We hope to have that continue. Don't alt tab, always alt Starcraft. We'll see you guys in our next match.